All right, this one for the YouTube. We got Chris Yen in the building, and we got Brian. All right, we about to get this thing started. Shout out, shout out. All right, we rolling. Man, excited. I gotta say, first, before we get started and go over air, thank you for being here. You know, you could have been doing
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, let's see. All right, you are on mic 3 and you know, mic 1. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? 90.5 FM KSJ's Ground Zero Radio. So, we have a treat this morning. We got Chris Kennedy and we got Brian Kennedy and Chris Yen in the building. They worked on some dope projects, but specifically the hit that captured my attention. I saw this dope poster. You can't see in the studio right now, but it was this dope poster over by this food spot I like to go to, and it's titled Suburban Story, and I YouTubed it. I watched it, I enjoyed it, and then I reached out, man. It was dope, and these guys actually reached back. But without further ado, we got Chris Yen in the building. What's up, bro? How you doing this morning?
Yo, I'm doing fine and dandy. How you doing?
I'm tight, man. This weekend is tight. I also got to do my homework on some of the projects that you worked on, and I got questions for you. What's up, Brian, bro? Brian Kennedy, cinematographer. What's going on? How you doing?
Doing great. Very happy to be here.
Oh yeah, I gotta say thank you guys for sliding through. It's an honor and a pleasure to host you guys. I want to say this is the first time I've interviewed a cinematographer and a director, so thank you. I got this gear, man. I'm hitting buttons, but let's see. Chris Yen and Brian, how did you guys connect? I got questions for both of you, but I really prepared like one more so with Chris in mind. But how'd you guys get connected and start working on this project, Suburban Story?
We got connected through high school. We went to the same high school, Evergreen Valley High School, shout out. And then, yeah, pretty much I was into making YouTube videos, so I made a bunch of YouTube videos, and then Brian was also into videos and making, you know, recording things and stuff like that, so we collaborated a lot on YouTube videos before. They were all comedy sketches, and then as time went on, as our skills developed, we wanted to improve and make better, you know, more impactful work, real art. So we moved on to, when it was time to come around to an actual short film, Brian was the guy I knew I had to hit up for to be the cinematographer, so that's how we got connected.
That's tight, man. It's dope that you guys go back, so you guys probably, the chemistry is already there, as opposed to, I guess, meeting somebody brand new, right? But let's talk a little bit about your background. You said that you guys started together on YouTube videos, but I would ask, what was some of your inspiration, maybe your favorite films or favorite directors coming up before you jumped behind the lens, or in front of the lens too? I've seen you acting a lot in your pieces.
Yeah, so the way I got into filmmaking is like, okay, let me start from the beginning, is you know, my family is Vietnamese, and they came from the Vietnam War, so there was a lot of struggle with that, and you know, there was a language barrier between me and my parents because I spoke English, and then of course their first language is Vietnamese. One of the ways I was able to connect with my parents was through movies. So they would always show me movies, and then that's how they cultured me on America, because they couldn't really do it themselves. They, you know, as well, you know, as authentically as you know, Americans. So they showed me a bunch of movies growing up, and then one of the movies that inspired me directly was the movie Star Wars. As when I saw Star Wars, it completely blew my mind. And then on the DVD, there's the behind the scenes featurette, and that was the first time when I was 6 years old I realized that, you know, movies are made by people. You know, when we're young, we just think, oh, the movies just exist, they're just there. But then seeing all the behind the scenes of them making the ship, making George Lucas coming up with the story and stuff like that, it made me think, you know, it's beautiful. And then so I stole my mom's little point and shoot camera, and I was trying to make my own movies from then on, from the age of 6 all the way, and it's been my whole life. So that's kind of, and then as time went on, I got more into film, and then some of my biggest inspirations are, like, you know, the classic directors like Stanley Kubrick, like Quentin Tarantino, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, you know, the greats.
Tight. What about you, Brian?
For me, I started off like doing gaming videos actually, and being more into that side of things and animation stuff, recording all that, and I would make edits out of that. And then later, once I met Chris, that's when I started getting more behind the camera, more in the zone with our YouTube videos and stuff. And yeah, I think what's unique with me is that my inspiration tends to stem more from anime, like One Piece, Naruto.
Okay. I see. Were you the cinematographer on The Last Chip, or was that you were?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, cool. Cause I noticed the music from Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun project to watch. And then I don't want to give up the spoiler. You guys can find the YouTube video on Nagrooven's page.
Search up Nagrooven, Nagrooven, if you want.
Oh yeah. Also, before we get too far into it, how do we find you guys on the internet?
So we got YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can search up our page, Nagrooven, Nagrooven. You'll see all of our works.
Dope. Cool. And jumping back into it, you said you took your mom's point and shoot camera, and you were inspired by Star Wars and George Lucas. But around what age did you take that camera and start? And what was some of the people around you's like reaction to you diving into this creative medium?
At the age of 6, I was straight up like, with the camera, I would make my own movies. I would get my cousins, get my friends, record little videos and cut them together using Windows Movie Maker, and I would make my little short films, a little like fun stuff. I would try to copy action movies and all that kind of stuff. And then of course the parents look at us like we're just playing, you know, we're role playing as movie makers and stuff like that. But yeah, over time it just kept developing more and more. Actually, like, as I moved on, and then I created a YouTube channel at the age of 12 and continued making YouTube from there. The Last Chip, that little short sketch that you were talking about earlier, that was something I made when I was like 13 or 14 years old. And then so as time went on, it just kept developing. And then at the time, you know, when you watch movies, you see the actors, so it kind of inspired me to like, get into acting, because, you know, that's the first thing you see in a film. So I direct and I act, and then I edit also, because over these years I just developed these skills.
All right. What about you, Brian? As a cinematographer, I don't think I saw you in front of the lens as much, right? What inspired you to get behind the lens and kind of keep that role instead of more of an acting role?
I never really saw myself in front of the camera, but I wanted to recreate everything that I was seeing from the movies, the animations, all the media that I saw. And the first way I got into that was through editing. So I actually didn't even start off with my own camera or with footage in general. I would take YouTube videos and I'd download them, and I would edit those. And I started doing that at a very, very young age as well, probably like 5th grade, I'd say, with iMovie on a MacBook. And By the time I got to high school, that's when I met Chris, of course, and that's when I really started discovering the magic of finally owning a DSLR and being able to shoot pretty much whatever I wanted at that point.
Tight. I see here that, or during my research, I saw that there were 3 projects in 2016. You guys kind of specialize in the comedic approach, but sometimes it's dark. Y'all like you like cussing in there, and really, I was super impressed with Suburban Story, but I'll tell you why in a second. So you had Pig Latin. That was like, I don't want to give up the, like, what do you call it, the spoilers, but okay, so Pig Latin is 2 homies at high school, and they're talking in Pig Latin, and there's this girl that is like within earshot distance, like, and they both hella like this girl, and I don't want to like telling the whole story. I might give up a spoiler, so something you gotta check out. It's fun, and Pig Latin is like the medium that they use to communicate with each other, right in front of this hot girl that they liked. And then Lights Out. That was a dark comedy. I liked it, and these all have views. Let's see. I did the view count, just off of the. This is for the people. So The Last Chip. Was that your first time like getting thousands of views? And what was that like? The people's reaction and response, right? Because you might know 2,000 people, but to get 2,000 people looking at your creation, what was that like? And was that kind of an approval? Like, how did you feel about it?
At the time, I was just doing what I love, so I wasn't really concerned about views. It was nice, like, to have some recognition and get some, views, but it's always, it's the art that matters. So.
Tight. And then, in your comedies with the kind of dark side to it, how did you, would you say this is your lane, kind of like dark comedy?
Definitely not my lane, but early on in my filmmaking career, I thought that comedy is a good scapegoat for building up our technical skill. Because in the beginning, like, if we try to make a serious short film and it ends up being whack, it's people will laugh at us. But if we make a comedy and it's a little bit whack, as long as people laugh, then it's good. People laugh with us instead. So yeah, that's kind of why we took the comedic route, because it's easier, to develop our skills, and then it's we can build up our skills, and we can use laughter as a way to cover up any of the the technical flaws, the amateurness, and then over time, that's when we started developing with the most recent short from like when I was 18, 2018, when I was 18, Tyler the Friendly Ghost. That one, I felt that the quality was good enough that we can start moving on to serious stuff, because yeah,
that was dope. So Tyler the Friendly Ghost, he was like an old homie, I guess, that was, he was not quite in heaven yet.
Yes.
And like, I guess he came to visit for one day. Man, you gotta go check it out, because me talking about it might spoil some of the plot, but it's a fun idea of like life after death.
Yeah. And speaking of me and Brian's connection, another one that also pushed us further to make more serious stuff is No Gas, which is the one, me and Brian's most recent collaboration before we started getting into the serious stuff. So yeah.
No Gas was fun. I liked No Gas. I kind of saw it like, it's at a certain point, I'm like, okay, when they get to here, if they don't do this, then that car is gone, buddy. That car is gone. But yeah, I'll say that. You guys got to check out the page and check out these movies that we're talking about for yourselves. But as we moved on to the Suburban Story, there was like a gap, like from 2018 until this one. I guess it's 2024, maybe 2025. And I have questions about the time in between and the bigger cast. Maybe film school. I found that out from the gram. But let's talk about just how it is working with a bigger cast. Out of the work that I've seen, that's like the biggest cast that I've seen in some of your work. I want to say 5 characters, I think.
Yeah, 6.
6. Okay, yeah, 6 characters as opposed to 2 characters in most of them. I mean, I think your mom, if that was your mom.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Came in on Tyler the Friendly Ghost.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was it like getting a bigger cast and crew and working with, you know? Another thing I really like that you had in one of your Instagram, or I think it was your announcement video, was like, don't let a low budget be your excuse to make a crappy film. So, 2 questions. One would be about working with the bigger cast, and then 2 would be the independent side of it, and using what you got as an independent creator and with your team.
Yeah. So when it came to casting Suburban Story, it was all about being resourceful and also finding the people who care. So I was very resourceful with the cast. I used myself as one of the actors. I used my mom, who's very supportive of me, and then I used and then I put out a casting call on this website called Backstage. And then when I put the script up for Suburban Story, it went viral. And then because people love the structure, people love the story behind it, so then I got a bunch of people sending in audition tapes, and then I just picked the people who fit the role the best, and also like who I felt that would be good to work with. And then I was able to expand the cast that way. And then working with that cast was, it came naturally to me because I've been doing this for so many years. So it was a little nerve-wracking at first, but it was always satisfying to see the vision come to life. That's the most satisfying part.
Was this also your first time working with a bigger cast?
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest cast that I worked with from day one, and it was a breeze, honestly, for the most part. Everyone was really friendly and really wanted to make a good movie. We had like maybe a couple of hiccups here and there, but it's our first movie, so to be expected, right? And we continued to push through, hold our ground on everything we wanted to do, and we ended up with a masterpiece. Very happy with how it turned out and with how the crew all came together to make it happen.
Yeah, there's one specific scene, I think I could talk about it without giving up the details. It's like a car parked outside. I actually like went back and looked at the scene again after, like, was that car there the whole time? And were there people in that car? Like, I mean, it could have been shot on different days at different times, but like just that detail in there, like, okay, this person is leaving the house and there are people in the car, like, kind of staking out the spot or whatever. I definitely went back and checked to see if the car was like at the same like angle, because we're looking at the house from a certain angle when we're in the car with the people staking out the house. And then you leaving the house, is the car there? But yes, the car is there. And it's like, it's continuous.
The little details matter, especially in a story like this. So Suburban Story has, I don't want to give it away, but it has a very unique structure. And then, to make the structure work, it's very important to have every detail line up. That's one of the most important things about, our experience with Suburban Story. And that's one of the reasons why it took so long too, is that after making YouTube videos, doing Tyler the Friendly Ghost and moving on to more serious stuff, in 2019 I was studying at De Anza Community College, and I was sitting through these film classes that I hated. I thought the professors were idiots, and I thought I thought they were idiots, and I thought they didn't know what they're doing. They're teaching me things that I was doing when I was an elementary school kid, and then the student filmmakers were their college kids, and they're making stuff worse than I made when I was 10 years old. So So I couldn't handle it. So I knew that, you know, I had to work on my own thing. So starting from 2019, I started working on the script for Suburban Story. And then as time went on, you know, 2020 is when I gathered Brian and I gathered the team, and then I gathered the cast, and we had everything ready. But everyone knows what happens in 2020.
Yeah.
So we had our first shoot March 14th, 2020. The next day, COVID! So COVID ruined everything for us. It put us on a big pause, but that I utilized COVID, you know, government EDD, thank you, unemployment. So we had government EDD, and we had, we also had, I also spent a lot of time, you know, I was a sneakerhead, so I took a lot of, you know, shoes. I resold some shoes so I can save up some money, and then, you know, I saved up, so then we were able to upgrade the camera, and then I worked on the script way more and way crazier, made sure everything was planned properly, and then, yeah, we did everything we could to, you know, make it happen. And then starting back in 2021, I graduated from De Anza, and then I moved to LA to go to film school, but I hated it, of course. But you know, being Asian, it's expected of us to get a degree, and even if it's not necessary. So then I was living in LA, and then I had to drive back and forth between LA and San Jose to make Suburban Story happen. So every weekend I would go back, because during the film school I'd have to work on little side projects that didn't matter, that didn't go anywhere. But I knew Suburban Story was the vision, so I kept driving all the way back to San Jose every weekend so that we can shoot our film, the film that matters. So, and then yeah, after committing and working hard from 2021 to 2023, we finally finished production in June 2023, and then from June 2023 to December, I locked myself in my apartment, and I edited the film myself. I did the sound mixing, I did the color grading, I did everything by myself, and I was kind of going insane, honestly. And then December 16th, 2023, the film premieres for the first time in LA. So the story behind me and my film school is that, you know, I applied for my dream school, UCLA, and then there was I got rejected in 2021, so it was a very, very big detriment. But I knew Suburban Story was the move, so we kept going, and then in Suburban Story, there's a man who gets shot. I changed his name to Gary Clark, because at the bottom of the rejection letter was that name. So
you wanted to smoke, okay?
So
you said this out there.
So in 2023, December 16, 2023, our first world premiere of Suburban Story in LA. Guess who we're going up against? It's two UCLA graduates. At that time, I just dropped out of college because I wanted to focus on editing Suburban Story. So it was Suburban Story, the college dropouts versus two UCLA graduates. At the end of the night, Suburban Story won its first award. The college dropout outshined the UCLA graduates.
Let's go. Hey, that's how, man, and that kind of connects into a couple of questions that I have about, one, you said the script went viral, and then two, I mean, they're kind of connected, but how, I guess the first question would be, how did the script go viral? Did you put it on Instagram? Or
oh, it went viral on that website. The backstage.com is a website for casting actors and getting some crew members. So then I put a part of the script on that website, so then, you know, because people need to know what they're working on the project. And then because the script did so well, it was recognized for its greatness, and then people wanted to be a part of the project, and they sent in a bunch of people sent in audition tapes.
Okay, cool. And that must have been like crazy validation on like the way that you're moving is the right way.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good to know that people are like appreciating our work and stuff like that, but it's important to, you know, keep our mind straight and make authentic art. That's what matters. So.
Right. And then connecting those two, entering your film into competitions or award film festivals. Also, I might not be talking like in all the jargon because I don't know it. You know, I know some of it, but not all of it. So all right, you had a success in people support on the script, and then you've been working on it. The pandemic hits. You keep working. You apply to film school, turned down. You keep working. How did you get your film after its completion into the competition versus the UCLA students? And did you, because you won like 15 awards, right?
Yeah.
So could you tell me a little bit about the process of entering your work into these competitions and festivals and how that went?
So for film festivals, you know, there's a submission fee. So we just all the money I saved up during COVID, and with a little bit of donation from my mom, thank you. we submitted to a bunch of film festivals, and then got accepted to a bunch, and then yeah. So that was after winning the first award in 2023. We also got invited to a few film festivals because Suburban Story was catching attention. So all through 2024, we toured all across America. We went to New York, we went to Mississippi, Texas, all over California, of course, to premiere Suburban Story. And then, and at the film festivals, they premiere multiple films from other independent filmmakers. And then, Suburban Story did well. Suburban Story did well, and it outshined the competition. So we won out of the 20 film festivals we went to, we won 15 awards. And then we had one of the highest winning streaks of all time for a short film. So we won 10 awards in a row. So
dope. What was that like for you, being a cinematographer?
The first time I watched the movie, I cried. The second time I watched the movie, I cried because it's just all that hard work put into like all these years, blood, sweat, and tears, going to the film festival, getting awards. It really brought out all that emotion that was pent up from all the hard work being put in. And although I for sure knew that the film would be successful, it was also just, for me at least, it was extremely validating to see that other people are appreciating the art, that the art itself I can appreciate as well. Hence, why I cried the first time I watched it. It was a masterpiece, and I knew that all my hard work didn't go to waste. I knew that I made the right choice, sticking with Chris through all the blood, sweat, and tears we put into the film. And I guess it was a very big pivotal moment for me where I knew I really wanted to lock in on the New Groovin' project and to continue making movies and to build our team up and to continue having our art be shown to the world.
That's dope, man. Cold two-man combo right here, 1-2 punch. But you want to tell us about Groovin' and where that came from, or what is Groovin' and how did that come to be?
Well, one of my biggest influences in my art is soul music. I always listen to Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Bobby Womack. So I always loved groovy music. And when I was a kid, I always blasted it really loud. And then my mom would say, "Oh, turn it down," and I would say, "Nah, I'm grooving." And then I just ended up liking that name, and it happened to be catchy because I wanted a simple one word name. So then and I thought feeling the being authentic and making art from the soul is kind of our mantra. So that Groovin' ended up felt like the right name. So that's
tight. Okay, I was wondering about that. Just when I looked it up, and what's Groovin'? Maybe it's a middle name or a nickname of some sorts.
Kristen Groovin', yeah.
But yeah, that's dope. And let's see more about Suburban Story and working with your cast and crew. I also followed I want to say at least one of the actors who commented on our post. But this was your first time working with a new actor, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? And are you guys locked in for future projects, or is it just open because they did so well in this project?
Working with different kinds of actors in this film was a very, very unique experience because, you know, like a lot of them were non-actors. Like, for example, my mother, myself, the girl who plays Julie, you know, they're non-actors. So it's like, in a way, like I had to direct them a different way. Whereas Liam, the guy who plays Jake, the guy who yells at the girl, Jeremiah, the guy who plays Mike, and Will, they're more trained actors, and Mark, who plays Gary Clark, the guy who gets shot.
Man,
they're all they're all very they're all different styles. So for example, Mark, the guy who plays Gary Clark, he's a theater actor, so he's naturally a little bit more big and more. So sometimes I had to dial him back, but one thing is that he was very consistent, and every take he was able to do something different. Liam, for example, was trained for the camera, so then he was by being trained for the camera, every take was consistent. So then every take was almost exactly the same until I asked for something different. Then he would do something different. So that was a little easier in the editing room and for continuity. For the Jeremiah, he's at the time he was like an up and coming actor. He wasn't that trained at the time, but I believe he was the most skilled. But there was definitely different consistencies in his performance. So then it took, like, sometimes it would take a lot of takes, sometimes it would be a few takes, but then he'd always peak the highest. So then sometimes I would have to do a lot of takes to get the right moments for each actor, and then that's kind of like the process with working with different kinds of actors. And then as time goes on, you know, like we find out who's compatible and we find out who like works well with us. So our next film that we're working on is called Fish Prawn Crab. It's going to take place. It's about a Vietnamese brother trying to take care of his little sister in the streets of Oakland, and it's Jeremiah's going to be in it. I'm going to be in it. So it's some of the people that work for this story are going to be in the next film. So yeah, we'll be working with Jeremiah again, and then some people will be making a return if they work in the film.
Let's go. All right. So a question that I just thought of right now is, so as a director and an actor in a lot of your films, like, who do you have in place, or if you have anyone in place, to kind of coach you through your acting moments? You know how your vision, when you see an actor acting out this scene, like you might pull them aside in between takes, like, oh, we need more of this, or we need more of that. Like, do you have anybody that helps you with that when you're acting?
One thing about our team is that, you know, we all wear multiple hats and we all, like, you know, contribute to the vision. So in a way, like, when I'm acting, you know, Brian will throw out ideas, or one of our other crew members, Jerry, there's other crew members like Cassie and Z, they all throw ideas out at me, and then I'll take it, of course, and then see where I can lead my performance from there. But otherwise, like, you know, it's all about having faith in yourself. I have a faith in my ability as an actor and a director, so, you know, I just have to trust myself. And then we often review footage on set, which is not usual, but, you know, it's what makes our work, make us strive for perfection. We review our work on set, and then we look at the take, and then I'm like, oh, that's trash, and then we move on. Let's do it again. And then we'll do it again until it's right.
Take 27.
Yeah.
100.
One thing about Suburban Story, you know, like,
You made it to 100?
Yeah, at a low budget, you know, we have to get everything right. So to make a film at a low budget but make it seem expensive, it just takes these four things to line up. It's the performance. Number one, that's the performance. Number two, it's the camera work. It has to be perfect. It can't be out of focus. It can't be crooked. And number three is the lighting. The lighting has to be perfect. And number four is the sound. If one of those things are misaligned, we have to do it again. So in Suburban Story, we often had to go past like 100 takes for some of the more complex shots. It's the one with the most moving parts. The shots with the most moving parts are always the one that take forever. So it's like if there's has to be a performance and there's a complex camera movement with moving lights and moving boom pull, you know, it ends up taking a lot of takes, and that's the only way to do it with no crew and no budget.
Yeah, and also something that I thought was interesting that I found in some of the research was duct tape.
Duct tape. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the creative uses of duct tape and how that might have been an unsung hero in the project.
Yeah, duct tape was one of our biggest allies. Like, you know, For the car scenes in Suburban Story, all we did was that we took a light stand, put the camera on the light stand, and duct taped it to the side of the car. And then for a lot of, and then for and we duct taped some lights to the top of the car, so then we can get the dialogue scene. And for a lot of other shots for we'd have to. One of our ways to do diffuse lights in a portable way is we put trash bag over lights and duct tape it to the lights. So duct tape was our biggest ally in Suburban Story, and yeah, it helped us everywhere. And then one of the things we take pride of the most is our practical effects. Is when we shoot guns, we shoot blanks. We don't do VFX. We don't do CGI. We shoot blanks, and then the blood was also practical. And we had to invent a way to shoot the practical blood. So we took a CO2 canister with a tube and then filled it up with the tube, punctured the CO2 canister so the air flies out, and then the blood will spray. So when you see this film, you'll see some beautiful practical effects that will make the movie feel like $1 million.
And lots of the practical effects were held together by duct tape.
Yeah, including that CO2 canister. Yep. Yes.
That's tight. So this film has won a bunch of awards, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that you can still shop it around. Is it done? Or have you applied to more festivals and more places to, get this film seen?
The reason why, it took so long for the film to release, we finished in 2023 but didn't release till 2025 technically, is because the film festivals, they're exclusive. They all want to be the premiere. So we had to withdraw the rights and let the film festivals play it first before we release it. And then so we can't have it released publicly unless if we're trying to go to the film festival. So we spent the entire 2024 going through film festivals. We won enough awards. There's no reason to hold it back from people. So
okay,
so it's on YouTube.
So you had to sign a bunch of NDA type stuff, exclusive.
Yeah.
Because the first one was the first one, but after the first one, it's no longer the premiere, or is it still the premiere until you put it out on your own?
Well, technically it's the premiere for them because so they have the world premiere, they have the city premiere, state premieres, theater premiere. So it's as long if think about it this way, if it's out for free on YouTube, then why would people go to the film festival, right? So then I think it's that's their thing. So then that's why it can't be released until the film festival run is over. So we finish our film festival run. It's time to move on and move forward. And for our next film, Fish, Prawn, Crab, we're currently working to get investors for a feature film. So.
And then another question that I just thought of right now is streaming services. Are you these apps and stuff? Have you thought about, or maybe is it an idea for the future, getting some of this stuff on some of those platforms
most definitely
Amazon or Netflix,
Yeah. Most definitely. So for feature films, there's more of a demand for it. Short films, unless you're actually into film, there's not much of a demand for it. So it's usually short films are more of a reputation builder rather than a career builder. So no matter how great we make a short film, it's very unlikely that it would be on a streaming platform. But feature films do have that demand, so that's our ultimate goal with Fish, Prawn, Crab. Our next film it's going to go through the theater, it's going to have theatrical distribution, and it's going to go through of course, to streaming, end up on streaming, and that's the goal. So, yeah, but my mentality is that, if you think about when people released albums, CDs back in the day, they always released the singles, and the singles are on the radio, they're on for everybody to listen to, and then people go and buy the album. So that's my mentality. Suburban Story is kind of our single. We release it out for everyone to see publicly on YouTube, and then we're able to release the album, which is Fish, Prawn, Crab. So
exciting. Looking forward to it. This is exciting. Oh yeah, this is the scene I was talking about. The guy gets in his red car, but unbeknownst to him, his house is about to get broken into by somebody else that was staking out the house, and it was somebody in the house. Oh man. This dude was a trip. This guy was. Oh yeah, I don't pay for YouTube, so I don't pay for Spotify or YouTube. Man, I get hit with them commercials. But yeah, this movie is exciting. I've been telling everybody about it. I even might have made a couple people mad sending it to them, you know, because YouTube's right there. I had this question last week in this meeting I was in. I'm like, hey, how would you guys feel if I sent you a 30-minute YouTube? It's like, 30-minute YouTube? Yeah, but it's a dope movie and it's highly recommended. Like, it's one thing to send somebody something unwarranted, but it's another thing to recommend it, they show interest, and then you show it to them, right? Like, man, this was tight. All 30 minutes of it, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to stuff in the future. I took notes on this thing that I saw you were tagged in for Grieving Brothers. I don't know if you worked on that or if it's coming out soon or what, but there's a...
Yeah, that's one of Jeremiah's projects. He's acting in it, and it's, yeah, that's kind of it.
Oh, okay. Because, hey, you can look up Chris Yen on IMDb. I'm pretty sure you can look up Brian Kennedy on IMDb too.
Yeah.
The database.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, I look at that as like the real verification. Like, I think it's really cool. I don't know if people in the industry look at it as that, but I think it's tight. And it's like an official place where a lot of your work is found, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the future. What is the name of this of the next film you got coming out?
It's called Fish, Prawn, Crab.
Fish, Prawn, Crab. Looking forward to that. It's set in Oakland, California.
Yeah, it's set in Oakland, California, and we're gonna film a lot of it in Oakland and also Hayward area. And yeah, it's again, it's about a Vietnamese brother trying to take care of his little sister, but he falls into a gambling addiction in the streets of Oakland. And the story is loosely based on my father, so it has a very personal connection to me.
That's dope. Also, how do you feel about being from the Bay Area and making films? Do you still live in Los Angeles, or did you move back up here?
Earlier this year, in the beginning of this year, I moved back to San Jose because I needed to be with the crew, and you know, yeah, it's good to be back in the Bay. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, so it's like, you know, we got to represent our people. You know, I moved down to LA mainly to try to make some connections and stuff. But then the thing is, in LA we are one of a million. In the Bay Area, we are one in a million. There is no one like us here. So LA is completely oversaturated, and you know, too much competition. And of course, no matter how great we are, it's oversaturated. We're not going to gain recognition. Here in the Bay Area, you know, we're local icons, so we're doing everything we can to like gain recognition, and you know, people take pride in supporting local artists. So
tight. As we are getting closer to wrapping up, I would ask you, is there anything outside of film that you... Oh yeah, also, I don't know if you made that song or whatever, but in one of the videos that you had, you were talking about duct tape, and and there is a song like that. It's like 30 seconds of a snippet of a song, and it's like, man, this dude just went in here and recorded a track for this moment.
Yo, you gotta let me tell the backstory.
Let's hear it.
So one thing that was going on with that was, I found a really hard trap beat, and I really wanted to put it into this little snippet for content. And Chris listened to it, and he was just like, "You can't change the song." And I was like, "I already edited to it." And he's like, "Let's make it our own then." And so, by the way, this was from Epidemic Sound. Shout out Epidemic Sound, they're great. And we just ended up making a whole track off it. His lyrics and writing, me on some ad-libs, a couple of our other friends on the ad-libs too. And we just made something super silly, but again, even when we go silly, we have to go all out. And yes, the fact that you brought that up just really shows how much we dive into our work and how people can still appreciate it even if it is silly.
Yeah, and, you know, my connection with music is that, like, you know, I was being Asian, I played piano. So from the age of also 6 years old, so I guess my creative energy just flowed since then. But I was put in piano lessons, and you know, like I said, I got caught into jazz and soul music. So I've been playing music for years. So I've always had a knack for music. For Suburban Story, I composed most of the music, and so music has always been like a side thing that I incorporate into our work, because I believe film is the strongest form of art, and it incorporates multiple aspects of, you know, it incorporates paintings, the visual aspects of paintings, the auditory aspects of music, the theatrical performance of theater, and, you know, the literature, the storytelling of books and literature. So all of those combined with, you know, I put everything into our work. So yeah, and for Fish Farm Crab, I'm gonna be making the soundtrack. So that's a good observation that you got.
Yeah, man. This can go back to something that we talked about earlier, and that's like the small details. Like, you're talking about duct tape in this video, and the song in the background is a song that you guys made about using duct tape in a video, right? So, or in a film setting. So yeah, we gonna wrap this up, man. I gotta say thank you for coming through. I'm proud of this work. I actually really have been sharing it with everybody, and the fact that you showed up to the Stop, Drop, and Roll show to show support, like, I think it's pretty cool that we're kind of like fostering a community, whether it's music or dialogue or film or, you know, practical effects even. Like, I'm sure somebody listening right now is probably got a project that duct tape could help with if they don't have like a big machine behind them backing them. And it's dope that you guys are doing this like on your own volition, on your own energy and resources. There's so much to be said about artists who are independent and making it happen without all the bells and whistles and money, because that's what it takes most of the time. So yeah, last thing I have for you is anybody you want to shout out that might be tuned in right now, or maybe they'll see this video later, you know, that you want to give some shine to, or say what's up, hi mom, or, you know.
I'd like to shout out my mother for being the most supportive person in my life. You know, like, without her, we'd be nowhere. So she's the one who keeps us moving forward. You know, gives us the privilege to strive for our dream. And I'll shout out to the world. You know, we are striving to be the greatest filmmakers of all time. So check out our work. We're striving for greatness. We do everything we can to make sure our art is authentic, it's meaningful, that it's impactful. We do everything we can to strive for greatness, and ain't nothing gonna stop us from achieving that. So check out Suburban Story on YouTube, or Nagrooven, Nagrooven, on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, of course.
Yeah, shout out my family too. They're always there to support me. Since day one, they've supported my vision with film. And shout out my dance team Syndicate. They really expanded my view of the Bay Area, and dance has been a huge part of filmmaking for me as well. And then just shout out Chris, because Chris brought me on board and really helped me lock into what my true vision is. So shout out to all of them.
Yeah, and I would say shout out to you guys. Shout out to anybody who might be tuned in right now, the hip hop department, the San Jose State Spartans, all the film festivals you guys entered and won. We don't care about the ones that didn't pick y'all. But
put them in the microwave.
Put them in the popcorn machine. But yeah, big shout out to y'all, man. I gotta say thank you for sliding through, because you didn't have to. Also, thank you for the support, man. Hey, they showed up to the Stop, Drop, and Roll show with this poster. I brought this poster here. They signed it. But yeah, it was dope, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Keith.
Yep. Suburban Story out on YouTube right now. Go ahead and check it out. And tap in, tell a friend.
It's the greatest thing you'll ever see.
Let's go, yeah. Oh yeah, alright, before I get out of here, I would say that have you ever seen this movie called just went blank right now. It was Crash.
Crash. I haven't seen that one.
Well, let's see. I don't want to give up the plot. Like these 5 characters or 6 characters that you have are all connected in different parts of the story, and at a certain point you see where they're connected. That's kind of why the film is hella cool in my eyes. Like, this is my opinion here, but yeah, I like how these 5 stories or 6 stories connected at a certain point. Check out Suburban Story on YouTube. It won 15 awards out of 20. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, one more time for the Instagram handles, and then we gotta go.
All right. Nagrooven, Nagrooven. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Bam.
That's it. Nagrooven.
This old-time radio program was originally aired live, long before the advent of high fidelity.
Thank you.
As a result,
Oh yeah, we lasted. Woo, damn, 51 minutes.